Autumn is nearly done. Winter is on its way. Unfortunately for New York Giant fans, this typical Eastern landscape accurately reflects the team's performance in Yale Bowl. Their record, to say the least, is bleak. Since the Giants began using the bowl 2 years ago, they have won a total of exactly 1 game there. Despite the similarity of the record over 2 years, there is none as far as the composition of the team compared to last year's. For Bill Arnsparger has cleaned house so thoroughly, there are 21 first-time Giants on the 74 squad. This year's Giants haven't been winning, but they have been competitive, and that's a large improvement over the Alex Webster regime. Bill Arnsparger's first target was to rebuild the Giant offensive line, which he has done. Next, he shored up a weak running game. But the trade for Craig Morton was the single biggest reason for optimism among Giant fans, for Morton is without doubt a quality quarterback. The biggest factor in the surprising success for the Cardinals is their enthusiastic coach, Don Coryell. He has turned the team from a pass-oriented club to one stressing the run. St. Louis has jumped from 25th of 26 teams in running last year to 2nd this season. This has made them even more effective through the air because they're throwing more selectively. This man, number 21, Terry Metcalf, is one reason for the Cardinals' explosiveness. He was to be one of the prime targets of the Giant defense as the St. Louis Cardinals met the New York Giants in the NFL Game of the Week. The Cardinals had first possession of the game, and despite the fact Hart successfully went right to his short passing game, St. Louis came up short of a first down. When New York took over on offense, Craig Morton emulated Hart by screening to his setbacks. X-Ray McQuay took this pass for a 20-yard gain. But an ineligible receiver downfield cost the Giants 15 yards. Thus, New York actually gave up 35 yards because of the penalty. These are the sort of mistakes that have been hurting them all year. Morton came right back with another screen, this one for Joe Dawkins, who got good yardage. But though he gamely tried, he was just short of the first down. A repeat of this play shows fine Giant blocking, as first number 73 rookie guard Tom Mullen leveled the middle linebacker. Then McQuay came in from the side to wipe out the outside backer. Dawkins' fine effort was for naught, and New York's rookie punter Dave Jennings was called upon for his specialty. Jennings was lucky. His punt went as far as it did, 36 yards. But he was unlucky. It went to who it did, Terry Metcalf. For Metcalf took the ball on the run. The NFC's second leading returner upped his average with a fine 20-yard return. Metcalf had brought his team to its own 38, then further improved the Cards' position with a display of shifty running right through the middle of the Giant defense. Metcalf went for 10 yards twice. Then Hart gave to his fullback, Jim Otis, who got an additional 10 tough yards to the Giant 32. Here, Hart hit on his second pass of the day, a down and out to J.B. Kane in the right flat. The huge rookie from Colorado made sure everyone knew he caught the ball. This was as far as the Cardinals could get, however, and Jim Balkin's try for a field goal was good from 36 yards out. St. Louis was out in front 3-0. St. Louis quickly got the ball right back, as on the Giants' first play, Craig Morton had plenty of time to look, then underthrew Bob Grimm right into the arms of number 43 cornerback Norm Thompson. Thompson picked up an additional 20 yards on a fine weaving return. With excellent field position now at the Giant 36, Hart stayed with his short passing game and again came up short, due mostly to fine Giant pursuit. The receiver here was Jim Otis, one of the less heralded of the Cardinals. Otis, a former Ohio State fullback, is making his 5th season his best season, with over 500 yards rushing so far. Jim Bakken kicked his second field goal, this one of 32 yards, and St. Louis upped its lead to 6. At the start of the second quarter, Craig Morton opened a Giant drive with a screen left to Walker Gillette. It surprised the Cardinals for 15 yards, so Morton soon called the play again, this time to the other side. Note the devastating block by number 63, veteran Doug Van Horn, who with rookies John Hicks and Tom Mullen represent new strength on the Giant front line. Despite Van Horn's block, New York was short of a first down and called upon Pete Gogolak from the 21. Gogolak's attempt was wide left, and the Giants had missed a fine opportunity to get on the board. Nothing has hurt the Giants more than their kicking game this year. It was Gogolak's failure in sudden death overtime that contributed to the loss to the Jets, and the 11-year veteran from Cornell is feeling the weight of the world this year. But here the Giant defense started to get tough. Roy Hilton stopped Metcalf in his tracks for a 2-yard loss, and for the first time today, Hart tried to detonate the bomb to Mel Gray. Hart and the Cardinals had been waiting for this moment, savoring it, for playing one-on-one with the lightning-fast Gray was a rookie cornerback, Jim Steinke, starting his first NFL game. Though his speed was suspect, Steinke stayed with Gray, who came up empty. The rookie won the battle, and the momentum seemed to shift New York's way. Morton, determined to take advantage of it, unleashed a bomb of his own. Walker Gillette had his man beaten, but dropped the ball. It was an anguishing moment for Gillette, a former Cardinal. Though the Giant offense had again failed to move the ball, the defense was really coming off the ball. Again, Metcalf couldn't get out of his own backfield. Jack Gregory, number 81, making the big effort this time, and for one of the few times in the past 2 years, the Giants heard the cheers of their fans in the Yale Bowl. Forced to punt near his own goal, St. Louis's Hal Roberts got off a good punt of 49 yards, but the recipient was X-Ray McQuay, who is finally fulfilling the promise he held as the leading runner in Canadian football. X-Ray brought the ball back 16 yards to partially negate Roberts' fine kick, and Morton quickly got back 15 more yards with a short pass to Joe Dawkins along the left sideline. It was the former Bronco running back's 32nd catch this season. Now, from the Cardinal 28, Morton faked a run, faked a screen, then hit Ron Johnson over the middle at the 20. Cardinal linebackers were having a tough time all day, and number 57, Mark Arneson, showed the effects. Two plays later, Morton burned the backers again as Johnson took a circle pass for 9 more yards as New York moved closer to pay dirt. With the ball on the Cardinal 2, and with 50,000 roaring approval, Ron Johnson behind John Hicks and Tom Mullen poured through a huge hole for the Giants' first score of the day. It was somehow inappropriate that the lineman should congratulate Johnson. It should have been the other way around. All Johnson had to do was run. But nonetheless, the Giants took a 7-6 lead into the second half. For the first play of the second half, Craig Morton selected a run, but it was a false harbinger of second half action. Trying the exact same play, Morton found he could not beat number 67, linebacker Larry Stallings, a second time. But stopping the run strategy was hardly a factor, for before the day was over, Craig Morton and Jim Hart would put it in the air 77 times between them. Morton's 8th pass of 11 plays thus far run in the second half carried to the Cardinal 10, but on the play, the Giants were called for holding. They had established good field position, though, and when forced to punt, they turned the ball over to St. Louis on their own 6, but that didn't stop Hart from joining the air war. But the Cardinals also ran into holding difficulties. On this completion to Jackie Smith, watch number 69, Greg Kindle, the closest Cardinal to you. His stranglehold on Jack Gregory's jersey nullified the gain to Smith, while Smith tried to nullify Giant cornerback Jim Steinke. Though the penalty moved the ball back to their own 4, Hart kept pumping. The Cardinals ran 7 plays on the possession, and the score now read Hart 6 passes, Morton 8, 14 passes on the first 18 plays of the second half. The Giants eventually forced a punt and took over on their own 42, and so with good field position, guess what Craig Morton did? Perhaps no tight end in the league runs the delay route as well as number 38, tight end Bob Tucker. Here's how it works. Tucker makes his delay believable by helping to pass block, in this case on number 74, Counsel Rudolph. This gives the linebackers time to drop back, and Tucker then slips into the short area that they have retreated from and usually has room to run. Tucker's run carried into St. Louis territory, and then Morton did an uncharacteristic thing for this game. He handed off on a running play, and Joe Dawkins made it work. Dawkins' 16-yard run got the Giants to the St. Louis 30, and from there, Morton pumped once and let it go for Bob Tucker. New York now led 14-6, and it appeared that the Giants might extract their pound of Cardinal flesh again, for no matter how the teams compare on paper, on the field, the Giants always seem to beat the Cardinals once a year. Though St. Louis was highly favored in this game, they were in trouble now, trailing by 8 with 20 minutes to go in the game. The fact that the Cardinals trailed by more than a touchdown would contribute to the air show aspect of the game. For when behind, you go to your strength, and for St. Louis, strength equals pass. On an 8-play drive, Hart threw 6 times, completing 3 for 45 yards, despite tight, tough coverage by the Giants secondary. From the Giants 16, Hart evaded the Giant rush, stepped up into the pocket, and found Earl Thomas wide open. Thomas just missed Steinke with his spike, and the Cardinals were within 1 point again. As the fourth period began, Hart was pumping the Cardinals downfield again. Completing 3 more passes, Hart got St. Louis close enough for a field goal. But from the Giant 14, it was blocked, and the Giants still led with 10 minutes to go. The Giants failed to add to their lead on their possession, but with 8.5 minutes to go, the Cardinals were 93 yards away. So, back to the strength. Another look at this play shows a good run fake by Hart helped check the Giant rush. And Hart, with time, was not afraid to retreat to the goal line before hitting Mel Gray for 19 yards. With better field position on their own 26, Hart again run faked and hit J.B. Kane with a bullet. Hart threw 7 straight passes, but the last 3 were misfires, though they did generate some action. The Cardinals, perhaps somewhat frustrated, were forced to punt, but got an incredible break when the Giants were called for illegal use of hands, giving the Cardinals a first down on the New York 40-yard line. On the first play after the punt, the Cardinals lost 5 yards on a penalty, and Hart was forced to go back up top again. After 2 incompletions, the Cardinals faced 3rd and 15, and Hart, who has been quoted as saying, when he tries for Mel Gray, he just throws it as far as he can, evaded a Giant rush, and off balance, threw it as far as he could. After Gray's 45-yard score, he pointed out the rookie he had finally victimized, for it was Steinke who was beaten for the TD. The Cardinals led at 20-14, and it was the best time to lead, for now only 4.5 minutes remained, and the Giants needed a touchdown to win. But Morton wasn't going to be outgunned by anyone, and on the first play of the Giants' drive, he hit X-Ray McQuay for 25 yards. Looking at the play from a lower angle, we can see that on this one, Morton was lucky. His pass was tipped by number 67 Stallings, and though there were lots of cards around, the ball went right to McQuay. A holding penalty brought Morton to a 2nd and 20, but he still got the first down, gaining exactly 20 on a pass to Bob Grimm. Finally, Morton was staring at 3rd and 10 from the Cardinals' 17, needing a touchdown to win. Somehow, Walker Gillette got very open, and his touchdown put the Giants back on top 21-20. If the Cardinals were really a first-place team, they could prove it now, for only 76 seconds separated St. Louis from falling into a first-place tie for their division lead. The Giants used some dubious strategy, electing to squib kick even though the Cardinals needed just a field goal to win. And after Ken Reeves recovered his composure and the ball, the Cardinals began their drive from the Giant 46, only about 20 yards from field goal range. 71 seconds left. Hart kept throwing, but he made them short, safe passes, not interceptable balls, passes where his receivers could get out of bounds. 51 seconds left. Hart went with a draw, and Terry Metcalf got 11 yards. "43 seconds left. Hart almost blew the game. Hart managed to claim his own fumble, but on a repeat, we can see that he just beat Clyde Powers to the ball. Though they had reached the Giant 23 and Jim Bakken field goal range, Hart surprisingly threw the ball again and got 7 yards closer. And so, with just 8 seconds to go, Jim Bakken had a 36-yarder to keep the Cardinals in sole possession of first place. Bakken's kick was true, but he was a reluctant hero. When asked after the game if he likes to come in with the game on the line, Balkin said, "If it's all right with you, I'd just as soon not." The Cardinals had another of their last-second miracles that have spiced their remarkable season thus far, while the frustrations of a third consecutive loss at game's end embittered the Giants and spilled out onto the field. The main combatants were the two teams' number 1 draft picks, number 74, John Hicks of the Giants, and number 88, Cardinals' J.B. Kane. But before they left the field, the two would-be pugilists shook hands and came out friendly. And though the Cardinals were bloodied, they were for the 9th time in 11 games unbowed and unbeaten, and still perched all alone atop the NFC East Division. The playoffs appear to be a certainty for the Cardinals, but displaying the ability to come back as they did is yet another facet of the surprising 1974 St. Louis Cardinals, a facet that may take them, well, who knows how far.